And so this week, I felt particularly grounded the other week, and based on some of the conversations in the group, I thought it might be of value to talk about our body as a temple, because it's obviously something that's referenced in the Bible, and I think we've found a lot of misunderstanding as to what we're truly talking about. And not only that, but the grave importance of what this means and why it's something worth carrying with us each and every day, and how it really gets into the fibers of almost every moment of our life. And if this is something that we can be conscious of as we go through our life, it completely transcends the way that we are in the world, which at first, for some people, doesn't sound appealing to change what they do. But the only reason they're changing what they do is because they're effortlessly being somebody different that respects their physical vessel, this body. And with that little introduction, I do want to read a couple of quotes because they're beautiful, and I enjoy starting these things with quotes. Your body is the harp of your soul, and it is yours to bring forth sweet music from it or confused sounds. The extent to which you care for and refine this instrument determines the beauty and purity of the song you play in the world. If the strings are neglected, they will not hold the tune of higher truth. Kahlil, Gibran. Your body is not separate from your soul. It is the vessel through which your soul expresses itself. A neglected body clouds perception, distorts emotions, and weakens the will. But a body purified and strengthened becomes an instrument of light, a bridge between the earthly and the divine. The more you cultivate harmony in the body, the more freely you can receive and transmit the energy of love, wisdom, and truth. Paramahansa Yogananda. The purification of the body is not about perfection, but about resonance. Just as a muddy river cannot reflect the sky, a toxic or stagnant body cannot clearly receive the subtler vibrations of peace and insight. When we cleanse our temple through breath, movement, stillness, and nourishment, we align ourselves with the greater flow of life, allowing wisdom to move through us unimpeded. TKV Desikachar. So all of these quotes do a really wonderful job of, in my opinion, just poetically expressing how interconnected and at the same time unattached we are and our experience is with our body, with the physical aspect of our nature. We've got the 5 kleshas, or the 5 bodies in yoga that we talk about. And the very first one, if you're not familiar with them, that's okay. But the very first one is the physical body. This is the most dense and the most tangible body that we have to work with. And that makes it a really great place for us to start with, because it's like these bodies build up on each other. And when one becomes harmonious, you effortlessly transition your focus into the next one. So our body being a temple is stage 1 for us to effortlessly get ourselves into a meditative state, a more energetic presence in the world. I'm going to keep on using the word, it's effortless. We change our being in the world, the things that we do, what we like. It's a byproduct of our energy body and these subtler bodies, which are accessed by having this purified temple. So there's a lot of fanfare around diets in the world today, and it's all of these diets serve a purpose, but they serve a very specific purpose. And so it can only ever apply to a handful of bodies. There's never a one-size-fits-all diet out there. And I use diet because when we think about nourishing the body, when we think about taking care of this temple, usually it's food and it's exercise. It's very, what would we say? I don't want to say materialistic, but it's very outer focused. The word is escaping me right now, but I know there's a good word for it. And when we eat, well, let's put it like this: the food that we eat eventually turns into the body. So what we put in becomes this vessel. Like we carry ourselves with it every single day. So what we put into our body is crucially important and something that's really been neglected. And all these diets are set to address a specific lack that our specific body has at the moment. It addresses a specific fault in the constitution of the body. But what we should be doing is encouraging ourselves to listen to the body, understand what it needs, and to be curious about what nourishes it. If we can acknowledge that the life that we put within us becomes our life itself. When we eat an orange, that orange is a living thing. It grew from a living thing, was born, and then gives us nourishment for us to continue living. It's like passing the baton of life. And when something is alive and full of vitality, it will give us the strength to be alive and full of vitality. But if we're eating a cheeseburger, that has a lot less life than a whole vegetable or fruit. And so the amount of life we can bring into the world is muted. And there's so much science that goes into nutrition. There's going to have to be a whole nother satsang on that front, because I want to keep it big picture. And the big picture is that what we put in our body has a direct impact on the quality of the body, and the quality of the body has a direct impact on our ability to be more meditative, to be more empathetic, to find these subtler vibrations, to hear Source, God, whatever you want to call it, but this communal relationship that we have with something that's beyond the five senses is directly impacted by how cluttered or dirty or I guess cluttered and dirty are the two that I wanted to go with, the body is. So if we overeat, that's a very intensive process for the body to be full of food. Digestion is incredibly energy intensive. I believe it's 60 to 80% of our energy gets allocated to digestion. And so your ability to do other things greatly goes down. And I think we all witness this if we have a big lunch. Nobody's excited to go back to the office or to get back into work after a big old lunch. They want to take a nap, and in Italy they do. In other cultures, they promote the big lunch, and they acknowledge that because it's so energy intensive, you have to nap it off before you can get back to work. And so if we want to prioritize accessing higher dimensions and being higher dimensional beings and bringing the essence of something that is greater than the five senses, then the stomach needs to be light, because otherwise we're depriving ourselves of energy that could be used to gather energy from the source, from that higher dimension. So we don't want it to be a distraction. Food, that is. And a lot of food has become a sensory pleasure experience, whereas you still have some cultures around the world, but it's very rare in America that people are truly curious about how to take care of the body. It's a long, it's a path of curiosity to understand what nutrients does your specific constitution need, how to make those nutrients available for your body, because we can look at a nutrition label and it'll tell us the nutrition, but sometimes our body doesn't even absorb that nutrition unless it's paired with something else or it's cooked in a certain way, etc. So there's a lot of aspects that go into nourishing the body to get everything that it needs. Moving from food, the meditation practices we have is another way of cleansing the body. There's practices, Nadi Shodhana, alternate nostril breathing, is just a really basic example of balancing the body and kind of cleansing it in a sense. When we breathe in, we're breathing in oxygen and we're breathing out CO2. So the only difference is that there's a carbon molecule attached. And what is carbon other than well, I'll say it like this. We're carbon-based life forms. I think we've all heard that us as humans are carbon-based life forms. And so what we're doing is we're taking the oxygen, thank you plants, and we're the carbon that is I'm going to say toxic, but really it just doesn't serve us, we can say, latches on to these oxygens and our body breathes it out. So our breath is already a purification process to get these unwanted carbon molecules outside of the body. And the plants thankfully are able to make use of our recycled waste, and that cycle continues. And so breath work is a phenomenal avenue for us to continue to purify the body, but there's deeper and more intense ways to do this as well. And I want to get beside the practices to again emphasize that if we are not conscious of what we're putting in here, how we're conducting ourselves, we'll gradually get into this state of lethargy. And ultimately, if our goal is to be the most conscious we can be, to do the most good that we can do, to have the most energy, to have the most love, vitality, these things sound incredible. The taking care of the body and treating it as a temple sounds more like work. And even students of gurus start their training often by sweeping temples, and they're cleaning pots and pans. They're doing that manual labor. And so it's very understandable that this doesn't sound appealing to us to take care of the temple. But a temple that's dirty, if you walked into any religious building and it was cluttered and it was dirty and it looked like it had been abandoned, there was cobwebs and everything, it's not a place that draws people in to connect with the divine. And it's very similar with our bodies. Dare I say the same. And so we just need to continue to dust the cobwebs and make it an act of love, that we acknowledge that this body is an avenue for us to have a direct experience with creation itself, with the process of life, to be in contact with something that gives us such strength and confidence and energy, vitality, love, compassion, foresight. The benefits are tangible and they're there. But really it's this devotional practice of so much respect, because this body, this vessel, allows us the opportunity to experience love, to experience all these things that we experience. Even that food that tastes so good like a donut might not serve our highest purpose, but our body is able to give us that experience, even when it goes against kind of its operating manual. And so this body is holy in this way. It is a temple, and just like a temple deserves to be cleaned in order for the light of, we say the light of God, or we can say just this source energy, something greater than ourselves. It deserves to be shown, for people to bear witness to it. And so our body is our first stop in allowing ourselves to directly experience this ourselves, and to give other people the opportunity to witness that same thing. So if we meditate all the time, but we are eating poorly and we're not having any kind of exercise regiment, and we're allowing the body to accumulate fat and just energetic lethargy, that's going to affect our practice, and we are going to be limited in so many ways. So that's why we talk about this. There's so many detailed avenues we could get into, but that's simply the message that I want to express today, the details of which we have many more conversations and many different kinds of calls in this group, to where hopefully we can address that. I know we had a thread going on about other classes, other calls, and it seems like nutrition might have been a one of interest. So hopefully we can address the finer specifics of how this relates to the body being a temple in maybe a longer term format as well, and really tangible. But for the satsang, it's less about the tangibility and more about, let's cultivate a reverence, and let's take some time to really view our body as something sacred and something we can be grateful for, and something that, like a newborn, our own child. I've got a son on the way in a couple of months, and so maybe I get a little emotional thinking about this, but think about your body almost as your child, where you want to give it the world, right? You want to see it at its maximum potential, and you want it to have a good life. And unfortunately, most of us haven't been given a environment that knows how to do this, and so we never picked up on it ourselves. And so it really comes down to our own curiosity and our ability to sit and listen to the body and what it needs. Because while one day a keto diet might serve us really well, maybe the next day it's that carnivore diet that seems to be getting so popular that actually serves our body the best. And so we come to discover by listening to the body that it's really cyclical, and I don't even want to say cyclical. It's an ongoing process. It never necessarily loops back around to the starting point. It's every day is worth listening to. No assumptions need to be made, because we're different every single moment, and our body's different every single moment. And this comes back to the sacredness of this, that every single moment we can view this body in the same loving eyes that we can view our own child, where we want them to succeed, we want the best, and the less assumptions we have and the less expectations we have, the better it is for their own development. So let's take a little reverence into the world. Reverence towards our bodies, maybe reverence towards the bodies of others, and acknowledge how the way that we all carry ourselves has a collective impact on the way something greater than ourselves is able to come into the world, to manifest into the world, to manifest into ourselves, manifest into others, our experiences, all of these things. It can all relate to the body, whether it's yours or somebody else's. Because ultimately, when you meet God, you realize there is no difference between your body and somebody else's body. It is just collective body.